What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to talk about SNPR, aka Tortoise Acquisition Group 2, and the merger with Volta that is coming up here, I believe in late Q2 of 2021. And I found this pretty cool article, and it highlights 12 things that we want to know about the merger. Now, I'm going to go over each of these things and give you some insight about them, help understand them a little bit better, and then hopefully shed some light on why this is a good investment. With that being said, I am not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. It's just my opinion. Keep that in mind. While you guys are here, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and if you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button as well. Let's get into it. All right, let's take a look here. Are you ready for some speed? Shares of Tortoise Acquisition 2 certainly are, with the stock gaining more than 30% on Monday. So this article is from the 8th. Obviously, everything's went to hell since then. But I do want to talk a little bit about the opportunities that we have in front of us. Currently, the Tortoise Acquisition, or SNPR, is at $12.73 as I make this video, which is a great price considering earlier this month we were looking at almost $18. And this is back close to, I believe, like December-ish prices. So not as close as it was back when it first launched, but it's a good entry point. Honestly, I might take this time to buy more of it because I do believe that the stock will shoot up, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and we're going to talk about the 12 different things here now. So let's scroll down here. Let's see what they have as number one. All right, number one, SNPR first came to the public in September 2020. Correct. This is when the opening price, I believe it was like $10.40 on the first day, because the private investors and the big time investors get their first dibs on it, and everybody else kind of just poured in after that. So my entry point, I want to say, was like $10.40 or something like that. But yeah, it first came out back in September of 2020, and it's been kind of flying under the radar, which is surprising given the fact that Hyliion just kind of blew up and took off because people were so into buying Shell. It was actually the hottest stock at one time. So very interesting there. Number two, at the time, the blank check company raised $300 million by offering 30 million units at $10. Yes, and these actually had warrants along with them. So there are warrants attached to these particular shares if you had a chance to buy these shares. And I want to say they can be claimed for about $11 as well. So that's something else to consider. From the beginning, Tortoise Acquisition 2 wanted to focus on companies that promote decarbonization or are otherwise engaged in energy sustainability. And this kind of reflects on their original purchase when they were with Shell, right? When they came out with the Shell SPAC, their whole goal is, energy efficiency, EVs, things like that. Things that want to make the environment a better place. Number four, the company says that this is because of a growing need for environmental, social, and governance investing. So basically, the company believes that people should be investing in like the betterment of human society, right? So companies that want to make life better on a society level, right? Whether that's, fixing the environment, fixing social issues where, there's like social problems, things like that. So there are companies out there with this in mind and this as their goal. This is just another one of those companies. So that's something to consider. With this in mind, the first Tortoise Acquisition SPAC brought Hyliion to public. Yeah, so Hyliion was super big. At one point, I think in midsummer or mid to late summer, it was probably one of the most hyped stocks that you could get. And Shell was going off the chain. I think at one point it got up to almost $60, if not $60. And then it just kind of crashed down. And I think it's in the mid-teens right now. So these SPACs can be pretty tricky. With this particular SPAC, I imagine it will probably be very similar. However, there is not as much hype with SNPR as there was with Shell, at least not yet. So that is something to consider. If this thing gets all the way up to like $55, $60, then I'll start comparing it to Hyliion or Shell, and we'll go from there. But until then, I haven't seen that just yet. It also makes sense now that SNPR stock is behind the Volta SPAC merger. So I mean, it makes sense because they're trying to promote decarbonization, but I mean, any company can be bought by a SPAC, so I don't really sure how that's beneficial. Volta bills itself as one of the leading owners of the public EV charging infrastructure, especially at places that people eat, work, and shop. I think somebody typoed that wrong. But yeah, so I think I went on record in my past sniper video that I just did recently where I talked about actually seeing Volta chargers. They have them in a local shopping center that's just down the road from my house. So they do exist. They have been around for a while. And there's these huge billboards on the side of them, and they just do advertisement through them. And the charging is pretty much just free. You just plug in and you go in and eat and do your thing, and you come out and you take off. So, I mean, you can't really argue with that. And if they have to look at a sign that's advertising a product to do it, that's okay. I don't mind. I'm getting something for free out of it. They're just getting my attention for a split second. So it's not something I'm too concerned about, considering that I'll be able to pretty much just glance and then go away. But they do exist. They have a proven business model, which is always a good thing. All right, one of the attractions of the Volta SPAC merger is the growing interest in all things ESG. So I don't know if this is a true growing interest. I think that most investors are just hype investors for the most part. Whether that has to do with the company that's about the environment is one thing or not. But I guarantee you could tell everybody, hey, we're all gonna, there's a huge opportunity in oil, and everybody would be like, no problem, let me invest. People, like, honestly, people want to make money. There are a few people out there who want to invest in technologies that will better people, but it's really hardly ever for the reason that you think it's for. People are in the stock market to make money. We're not here for ethical reasons. Although I do have some ethical things that I will not touch. Like, I don't touch gambling stocks. I don't touch tobacco stocks. I don't touch alcohol stocks. Marijuana stocks I'm okay with because it's more of a medical marijuana kind of play. But there are certain things that morally I won't touch because I can still make money elsewhere. But things like oil and stuff, if it was going to make me money, I'm not opposed to putting money into that kind of an investment. And I think that some people are, and I think it's a little bit slimmer than they think when they say something like this or when they use this kind of a quote. When the merger closes, it will trade under VLTA on the New York Stock Exchange. So that's what we're going to have to keep an eye out for. Although I am going to be monitoring for this. They did mention that they're going to be trying to do it by the end of the second quarter in 2021. So it's coming up. June, I think, is the end of the second quarter, around early summer. So by the time that happens, we may see Volta jump up the charts. It may become a hype stock at the time. So this is a good opportunity to get into the SPAC if you haven't done it already, because we don't know what's going to happen, but I guarantee it will gain some speed and some value, and then ultimately probably crash back down to like a certain price or like a support price. What that may be, there's no evidence right yet because there's just so much craziness going on in the markets with the whole bond issue. That we're just kind of waiting for things to settle, and then we can start focusing on the future after that. All right, the stock's going to have a combined value of $1.4 billion once the merger completes. So not bad. Good valuation. It's not like it's a small cap or anything, but it's up there. Investors should note that the deal will result in the net proceeds of $600 million. So what is that? Almost a little under half of the value will be net proceeds, so I'll take that. And then finally, those proceeds include $300 million in pipe deals from investors including Fidelity and BlackRock. So BlackRock's investing, Fidelity's investing. We have some big firms behind this, big companies behind this. And yeah, I mean, these are all really good bullet points, things to consider. I think that right now, if I had to say that the value of the price was a good deal, at $12.73, I think this is a good entry point. A lot of people didn't even think it would get into the 13s again. So this, to me right now, Snapper's a buy opportunity, big time too. Considering literally at the beginning of the month when this article was written, we were sitting at $17.24 a share. So even if we return to pre-crash, I don't even want to call it a crash, but pre-correction highs, you're looking at a $5 gain. You're looking at almost 33% gain right off the bat there. So if we get an opportunity, let's pounce on it because I really think that this is going to be a good play. Advertisements do really well. Advertising is a big business. I mean, if you don't believe that, look at Google, right? So we'll see what happens with Volta. I'm going to be following the news, like I said. I'll give you guys more updates as I go. If you get a chance, take a look in the past at some of my Snapper videos. I do have some videos of companies that I thought it was going to merge with. It ultimately didn't, but they are kind of cool to look at. If you get a chance to take a look, do so. Anyways, guys, with that being said, I'm going to let you go now. I hope that everyone has a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.